What's up, virgins? Today I'm gonna give you some advice on what you can expect the first time you have sex, when you lose your vcard, when you lose your virginity. And more importantly, I'm gonna give you some advice on how you can make your first sexual experience an enjoyable one for both you and your woman. Losing your virginity as a guy can be a pretty nerve-wracking experience, especially if it's taken you quite some time to kind of get over that hurdle and find a woman to engage in sex with for the first time ever. By the way, I want to make perfectly clear that anything and everything I'm going to be saying in this video is still totally applicable to you if you are, let's say, a Christian or a Muslim and you're saving yourself for marriage. I'm in no way, shape or form here advocating for you to lose your virginity before marriage if that is your religious conviction that you're going to wait until you're married. Now, it's important to understand that the first time you ever have sex, you are going to be trash at it, and that is perfectly okay. You cannot expect to know what you're doing if you've never experienced this before. If you've never experienced a woman's body before, you will be completely clueless. I want you to think of sex as a skill, because it is a skill, just like anything else. And a really good analogy for this is actually cooking. So when you think of cooking, right, there's a couple of different bases to that skill set. There's the technical aspect of cooking, so let's say knife skills and learning how to chop things up very finely. And then there's the creative aspect of cooking, which is learning how to combine flavors and learning flavor profiles and palettes and things like that. The skill of cooking is a combination of those two things. And sex is very much the same. There's a bunch of physical skill sets and physical techniques you can learn. And then there's the creative side to it and the mental side to it as well. But that creative element of sex is where you learn to explore things together with your partner. So looking at sex as this sort of skill set, I think that'll help you as a virgin to come at this from a less nervous perspective. Because if you understand that it's a skill and it's not just something that you're expected to be good at from the get-go, that takes a lot of the pressure off of you. Because you've never had sex before, you might be worried about prematurely ejaculating. And this can absolutely happen if you're very, very excited, and that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing. It's good to be excited about sex and enjoy sex with your woman. However, if you habitually masturbate quite a lot, and especially if you masturbate to pornography, you actually might find that the sensation of a vagina is not comparable at all in any way to your hand and to the sensations you give yourself when you masturbate. So you actually might find that you don't come at all. And this is actually not that uncommon of an experience for a lot of men. The first time they have sex, they actually don't ejaculate, they don't finish. If you finish, that's fantastic. If you don't finish, that's also perfectly normal. Any result is fine. Basically, no matter what happens during this experience, it's okay. I don't want you to have unrealistic expectations of yourself or of your partner. And very importantly, do not let this experience dictate your self-esteem or your self-image. I don't want you to ever get wrapped up in viewing yourself as lesser than just because you had a subpar sexual experience one time. The first time you rode a bike, you weren't doing the Tour de France and you weren't doing like Black Diamond downhill mountain bike racing. You have some patience for this, have some reasonable expectations and some patience in regards to this. It takes experience and repetitions to learn what women respond to learn the female body, to learn what they enjoy. Lots of the videos on this very channel will help you exactly with that, without actually having the prerequisite experience. It also takes experience and repetitions to learn about your own body, to learn how to control your own body, to learn what you actually enjoy and respond to in the bedroom as well. Basically, I want you to have fun with this experience no matter what happens. So if something awkward happens, like maybe you trip over your pants when you're trying to take them off or something like that, I want you to just laugh it off, because that will actually take away the awkwardness for both you and her. It'll help you both be present in the moment and not in your heads. I think personally it's better to call out these kind of things. If something silly or awkward happens, call it out and laugh at it. I want you to adore her body and have fun exploring her body. This is your first time, after all, with a woman. Take advantage of it and really enjoy it and get into it. And don't get arrested. That's very important. Don't get arrested. Actually, it was a fire truck, so don't catch on fire. That's very important. When you're in the bedroom having sex for the first time, it's very important to not catch fire. Now, here's a little practical tip. Try to have sex in a dimly lit room. You don't want it to be in total darkness, because you don't know your way around the female body, so that might actually add a bit more awkwardness to the situation, and you won't really know what you're doing or where things are. And you don't want to be doing it in a fully lit up bright room either, because then it's a bit too awkward. I mean, you might be a little bit self-conscious about parts of your body, perhaps. She might be self-conscious about parts of her body. A dimly lit room is somewhere in between the two, where you can still see each other's bodies, but your eyes aren't straining, it's not being blasted with white light. It makes things a lot more comfortable for both you and her. Now, if you do happen to prematurely ejaculate or finish very quickly, I want you to try and flip this into a positive and go straight again into round 2, because you're probably going to be excited enough. It's your first time having sex, and now this is going to be dependent upon, you know, things like age and health, but if you can do it, I'd highly recommend it. And in fact, that's probably going to make her feel a lot more sexy. She's going to feel like, oh wow, I got him off quick and I was able to get him hard again and go into round 2. Wow. Now, the greatest asset you can bring into the bedroom as a virgin is simply enthusiasm and curiosity. Again, you don't really know the female body that well, you're not very experienced, you don't necessarily know what buttons to push, what things turn women on, so just be enthusiastic and curious about the female body. I want you to fall in love with the female body during this experience, because that is going to turn you in the long term into a great lover. Men who are good in bed adore and love the female body. They love every square inch of it, and that enthusiasm for the female body comes through in the passion they bring into the bedroom. If you can start off your, you know, sexual endeavors or sexual life with that frame of reference, with that frame in mind, you will end up being a fantastic lover for your woman. You want to get to the point where you get off on getting her off. That is the recipe for being an amazing lover. Now again, we mentioned before, if it's your first time, you might have some trouble lasting as long as you want. So you should watch this video right over here where I teach you how to overcome premature ejaculation.